Oh, this one will be one of my favorite video, and you know why? Because we're gonna talk about the best Canadian bank ever. My name is Mikey Roux, founder of Dividend Rocks, passionate investor, here to help you invest with more conviction so you can enjoy your retirement. And today, you guessed it, we're reviewing one of my holding in my portfolio, one of my favorite one, to be honest. Best Canadian banks since I don't know, like the past 20 years. National Bank. National Bank is the smallest of the big six. And to be honest, if you don't live in Quebec, you just talk about the big five and you don't even talk about National Bank. When you look in terms of market cap and in terms of revenue, Royal Bank, TD Bank looks like huge giants. And then you have Scotiabank, CIBC, and BMO. And then down, you got National Bank for a market cap of like 35 billion versus 185 for Royal Bank. Let's just say that they could easily, like Royal or TD could easily buy National Bank whenever they want, and they would not even consider what happened in their balance sheet. However, you should not discard this one. Before we start, full disclaimer, this is not a buy or sell recommendation, and I have been working for National Bank for 13 years. So between 2003 and 2016, it was my only employer. Actually, I've had like several promotions. I worked in several departments, but overall, I've only worked for National Bank. I've studied that bank inside out. I've been working in various departments, as I just said. So I have a pretty good understanding of what happened. But what is the most amazing thing is if you look back in the past, and obviously, future performance is not guaranteed by past graph. Don't take my words for granted. But look at the 3 years, National Bank outperformed all the big six. Look at 5 years, same thing. Look at 10 years, exactly the same story. Maybe 15 years. All right, so now we have the financial crisis. We have the oil bust in 2016. We have the market crash of 2018 and also of 2020. Still, National Bank wins it. And for the past 20 years, it has been crushing all the other banks. So today we're going to look at how come this bank is such a great deal and why you should consider it to have it in your portfolio. First thing first, we're talking about leadership. Any great companies in your portfolio shows strong leadership. National Bank is the largest bank in Quebec and the second largest financial institution behind Le Mouvement des Jardins. So they have a leadership position over there, dominant market shares. Quebec is the second province in terms of GDP across Canada. So they're well established in a great market. And what I like about Quebec's economy is that well diversified. So we have some industrial, we have some natural resources, we have a lot of services. So we have a great mix. And we have seen that in the past recessions, actually over the past 15 years. Quebec has went through a lot of challenges, and year after year, the economy has been proven to be more resilient than many others. So that gave them like their fort to base a great foundation. National Bank gets about half of the revenue coming from the province of Quebec, regardless if it's like from savings and loans, wealth management, financial markets, etc. We're gonna get there in a moment. So because they are big in Quebec, it is an advantage and also a flaw because it's hard to grow outside of the province. But what they did is that they went into a lot of partnerships. So instead of like opening branches and then trying to get market shares, which is high, it's very costly for banks and for any other companies that are trying to penetrate another market, what they did is that they made partnerships with companies like Power Corporation. So they do their like online banking, they do mortgages, investment loans for IGM, for Great West Life, and the management that is not part of Power Corporation. So they have built all those great partnerships outside the province of Quebec that is giving them exposure to more savings and loans that they could have get without having the cost of paying for branches and having like a bunch of advisors over there. But National Bank is a lot more than just savings and loans. And this is exactly what I love about this bank. First, they show a very strong segment in wealth management. during my time of at the bank, they have created private banking. So private banking 1859. I've actually worked there for almost 5 years. Had a great time over there. A lot of growth. And as you can see from this graph, the company between 2011 and 2020 shows 15% growth in net income, annualized growth rate. So we're talking double digit for almost 10 years, which is quite impressive actually, especially for a small bank. And when you look at assets under management for wealth management, the bank is actually among the top 5. So well positioned. They've known how to target the right audience. And to be honest, if there's one place there's a lot of money to be made, it is wealth management. Just think about all the life insurance companies like Manulife and Great-West Life and Sun Life. What they did when they saw that it was a little bit harder to make money with life insurances, well, they went into wealth management. Other banks, what they did, wealth management. BMO was one of the first one when they made the acquisition of Aris Bank several time ago. Just to give you an idea that most companies in the financial services are gearing toward this part because of like boomers retiring. There's a huge transfer of wealth, and there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of estate planning, and those people, they have money, they have questions, and they're ready to pay for it. But there's more than wealth management, which is kind of crazy, right? But the company has also created a huge segment for financial markets. Financial markets, we're talking about like being like offering liquidity on the stock market, making trades, managing portfolios, making a difference between ETFs and stocks. So a lot of trading, a lot of like hit and miss as well. We've seen that with BMO from time to time. They also have a huge department in capital markets, and from time to time, unfortunately, they miss a trade, they lose money. So it's always like a plus and a minus in your portfolio. You don't know if it's going to go well or not. But so far, as you can see, besides a big dent in 2016, most of the time financial markets are making money, and even better, it is also growing for the past 10 years. So now we have established that National Bank is a leader in its market, getting a lot of money from savings and loans. Then they have great diversification with wealth management and financial markets. Before I continue, I have to tell you, while you're watching this video, probably at National Bank has reported their earnings. I'm doing that a little bit in advance, so I'm not going to report this one today. However, next week, I will do a full coverage of the Big Six, talking about earnings, talking about dividend increase, because we're starting the season on a strong foot here. A lot of exciting news around banks, but this will be for next week's video. So make sure that you give me a thumbs up for this one, and also subscribe to the channel to not miss next week's video about the top 6 bank. Now, are we done with National Bank? Well, actually, we're not. There's also another thing that I love about this company. A lot of Canadian investors that love Scotiabank will tell you, oh, but Mike, Scotiabank is exposed to international market. It's the most international bank. And it's right. It gives great diversification. It's right. But they fail to generate growth quarter after quarter from this segment, because sometimes it brings a little bit more volatility, and it's a little bit harder to go forward with those segments. It's basically harder to make banking in South America than it is in the US or in Canada. However, National Bank so far have done a great move, creating the US and international specialty finance, comes on like a huge name, basically telling you that they're just opening a new segment of operation. They're putting a lot of things in that basket. Among those things, great successes, they have acquired ABA Bank, which is a bank in Cambodia. So exposure to emerging market is coming up there. And they have also acquired Credigy, which is his specialty finance company in the US, based in Atlanta. So they're making like specialty loans, very niche product, but also a great source of growth. Overall, as you can see, you get a classic portrait of a bank with 42% of revenue coming from personal and commercial banking. Then you have great diversification and growth vector through wealth management, financial market, and US specialty finance and international. Finally, my last argument why I love National Bank so much is just look at this dividend triangle. The bank is is reporting consistently revenue increase, earnings increase, and dividend increase. The only pause that there was on that graph, it was because of regulators. So OFSI said, you know what? Pandemic is there. We're not going to increase our dividend for a while, but now as soon as they are able to do it, they're going to increase it. Probably as the time that you watch this video, they probably announced like, let's say I'm going to make an announcement and we'll see how it goes. And I swear to you, I have recorded that before knowing. So I expect a dividend increase of 15%. I've only saw the 11% increase for Scotiabank so far. That was recorded actually in the same morning on Tuesday morning. So I have no clue about the other banks, but I'm pretty sure that National Bank will be among the top 3 out of 6 in terms of generosity for dividend increase. Let's see if I'm right next week when I'll do my full report on the earnings for all the big 6 banks. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to get this kind of like understanding of companies, getting some tricks about managing your portfolio and how to find companies with such a strong dividend triangle. I suggest you to download my free recession-proof ebook. Right down below, there's a link. You download it. It's 100% free. It's a booklet about like 35 pages, asking you a lot of questions to help you define your investing strategy, define what you're looking for in a company, help you to define the metrics that are important for you, and to invest with more conviction. So until the next video, next week, don't forget about the top banks. Stay invested, and we will talk next week. Cheers.